Imagine waking up on an ordinary day with a strange emptiness in your chest. A silent absence of meaning, as if something essential was always just out of reach. You feel like you're trying, making an effort, wishing with intensity, and yet, it's as if an invisible wall separates you from the life you deeply long for. People seem to effortlessly find what they're looking for: love, purpose, ease, while you watch from the outside, carrying the subtle anguish of not being in the same flow. It's a quiet restlessness that doesn't scream, but weighs heavy, and deep down, maybe you already know. What's missing isn't more effort, it's alignment. This disconnection isn't just emotional, it's vibrational. And that's where the concept of the vortex, as taught by Abraham Hicks, begins to reveal its power. Abraham, channeled by Esther Hicks, gave shape to one of the most transformative perspectives in contemporary spirituality. In books like Ask and It Is Given and The Vortex, we're invited to understand that everything we seek already exists, not in the outside world, but in a vibrational field only a frequency away. The vortex is not a physical place. It's an inner alignment, a state where your most authentic self is already living the reality your heart has asked for. It's an energetic space where everything you've wished for with true emotion is already waiting, not to be chased, but to be matched. And maybe now, as you hear these words, something inside you begins to stir. Because beneath the exhaustion of trying to change things outside, there's a gentle call to come back inside, to realize that struggle, urgency, and control all are signs you're operating outside your vortex. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you've learned to seek outward what can only be accessed within. This video is an invitation to understand, deeply and compassionately, that it's not about wanting more, but about allowing more. It's about remembering that your field of manifestation doesn't respond to the force of your desire, but to the truth of your vibration. On this path, we'll explore not just the teachings of Abraham Hicks, but also the bridges that connect this vibrational wisdom to the science of the body and consciousness. We'll understand what it means to enter the vortex, how to step out of resistance, and how to rediscover the frequency of what you truly are. Because yes, there is a right energy, and it's not found through effort, but through permission. And when you step into this field, love, opportunities, and the right people don't need to be chased. They simply recognize your frequency and come to you. There's a kind of frustration that few can name, yet many know intimately. Wanting something deeply, a true connection, a meaningful opportunity, a chance to begin again, and watching as everything stays exactly the same. It's a quiet pain, almost hidden, that reveals itself in moments of waiting, when you realize that no matter how positive you try to be or how hard you work, nothing truly shifts. As if a glass wall stands between you and the life you long for. This is where many give up, thinking perhaps the universe has gone silent. But here, Abraham Hicks offers a profound insight. It's not the universe that's out of sync. It's our own vibration that's fallen out of tune with the vortex. According to Abraham, the vortex isn't just a mystical concept. It's a real vibrational field, an inner space where your essence is already living the life you desire. Inside the vortex, there's no struggle, only resonance. It's the place where your inner being, the part of you that never doubts, never fears, never lacks, fully experiences what your heart has asked for. Physical manifestation is simply the natural consequence of this invisible alignment. Trying to manifest without being emotionally present in the vortex is like turning the dial on a radio trying to catch a station your antenna can't reach. It's not about deserving more, it's about vibrating in harmony with what already exists for you. Many make the subtle mistake of wishing with the mind but vibrating with fear. They desire love but vibrate loneliness. They want abundance but feel lack. It's like trying to tune into a joyful station while the body is filled with tension and the mind is echoing urgency. Abraham reminds us that like attracts like. This means you cannot attract something different from what you are already being in vibration. Your emotional state is your silent request. The real question isn't what do I want to manifest, but rather what am I resonating with right now? As a practical step, after watching this video, close your eyes and observe, honestly, what emotions have been dominating your days? If you could name the frequency of your current state, would it feel light or heavy? Expanded or constricted? Map this without judgment. Then remember what it would feel like to be inside the vortex. Imagine yourself feeling ease, clarity, enthusiasm, and trust. These are the sensations that signal your entry into that invisible field of possibilities. The body never lies. If there's constant tension, repetitive thoughts, and a need to control, these are subtle signs that you're still outside the vortex. Entering the vortex doesn't require perfection or forced spirituality. It requires presence. It requires truth. It's not an escape from pain. It's a return to essence. And within that vibrational space, everything you've asked for with love is already waiting for you. Maybe you've been taught that in order to achieve something, you have to fight hard. That desire only turns into reality through sacrifice. That exhaustion is part of the path. But what if all of that is exactly what's keeping you out of the vortex? Abraham Hicks teaches that the starting point for aligning with the vortex is not extreme effort, it's contrast. Yes, that thing you don't want, the discomfort, the frustration, the pain, it's the raw material for vibrational clarity. Contrast isn't punishment, it's a call. When you face discomfort with awareness, it stops being an obstacle and becomes a mirror, a clear reflection of what's out of sync with your essence. But there's a common trap. Most people, when looking at what they don't want, stay there, feeding resistance, replaying the problem in thought, vibrating in the frequency of absence. And what we resonate with repeats. So the question isn't only what bothers me, but where do I focus my attention once the discomfort arises? That's where Abraham introduces us to the quiet art of allowing. Allowing is the opposite of controlling. Allowing is the energetic act of opening up to the possibility that what you desire already exists and can come to you once there is vibrational space to receive it. And what creates that space? A softened mind, conscious breathing, present body, acceptance of the now. These are simple yet deeply transformative practices. It's not about changing the outer world, it's about realigning the inner frequency. A powerful tool is the Contrast and Gratitude Journal. Take a notebook and write truthfully one discomfort you're feeling today. Then, write its opposite, what you really want to experience instead. For example, I feel unseen can become, I want to feel valued. And then, give thanks. Not because you already have it, but because you now clearly know what you want to vibrate. This simple act sends a signal to the field. I now know what I want, and I'm willing to align with it. You may start to notice that the biggest block isn't the world around you, but the internal patterns repeating old stories of lack, rejection, or urgency. The vortex cannot be accessed through force. It reveals itself when the energy of striving gives way to the energy of allowing. And this shift is the hardest for the conditioned mind, to leave the fight and enter the flow. But that shift doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes, one small gesture of lightness, one conscious pause, or one gentler thought is enough to reposition your vibration. You don't need to get everything right to enter the vortex. You just need to stop insisting on the frequency that keeps you out. And that begins with choosing, in each moment, not to feed what drains your energy. Instead, start choosing gently what elevates it. Because the vortex isn't far away. It's always within reach, at the edge of your next lighter thought. There comes a moment when intellectually understanding the vortex is no longer enough. The soul begins to crave real experiences, tangible manifestations that confirm what the heart already knows. And this is where science and spirituality meet in profound coherence. Thinkers like Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza show, through epigenetics and consciousness-based neuroscience, that our bodies are shaped by the vibrations we hold. Our genes respond to the emotional environment we create within. Our biology listens and responds to what we truly feel. Manifestation, then, is not some magical event, it's the natural response of the field to the energy we emit. Abraham Hicks reminds us that the vortex is not a place you reach. It's a state you choose to access now, even before anything changes on the outside. And the more consistently you inhabit this aligned frequency, the more evidence starts to appear in your daily life. Not as unexplained miracles, but as vibrational confirmations that you're creating from your being, not from your lack. To maintain this energetic field consistently, a simple yet powerful practice is the 3-layer ritual. The first layer is intentional silence, a moment in your day when you simply breathe, in presence, allowing your inner field to settle, like a lake becoming still. The second layer is emotional visualization, deeply feeling a scene as if it's already happening. Not just imagining it, but experiencing it, with your body, your heart, your vibration. The third layer is inspired action, a gesture, a decision, a movement in the physical world that reflects the energy you chose to embody within. Even if it's small, it carries the signature of alignment, and this is what magnetizes your reality to match your inner frequency. There are countless stories from Abraham Hicks workshops and communities of people who have experienced profound transformation through this process. One woman shared that she had spent years chasing love through anxiety, urgency, and self-pressure. It was only when she decided to feel worthy of love, inside the silence of the vortex, before any external proof, that love simply appeared, not as a coincidence, but as a natural reflection of her new vibration. Without rush, without struggle, just resonance. But why do so many people give up after just a few days? Because we've been conditioned to crave quick results. We live in a culture that glorifies doing and devalues feeling. The vortex requires vibrational patience, daily presence, reverence for the unseen, and that's where many lose their way. They break the ritual, return to autopilot, and stop honoring the emotional process. Manifestation doesn't fail. What fails is the consistency of vibration. True creation doesn't begin in the world. It begins in the field, and that field responds not to your words, but to your energy. Once you truly understand this, you begin to live from a different place. A place where reality doesn't need to be forced, it simply responds. Because like attracts like. And if your vibration becomes like love, like ease, like abundance, that is what will find you, not by chance, but by coherence. Everything you long for, a deep connection, a life-altering opportunity, or true love, already exists vibrationally in your vortex. It's more than just a spiritual metaphor. It's a real field of emanations, a space of frequency where your most aligned self is already living the life your heart desires. What you feel as longing, the universe already perceives as fulfilled potential. And the gap between the two is not time, it's vibration. That gap can be crossed at any moment you choose to align your being with the frequency of what you want to experience. This journey doesn't demand urgency or a perfectly crafted plan. It requires the courage to pause, to be still, to witness your emotions without judgment and gently allow your energy to realign with the truth of who you are. The urgency isn't in time, it's in the soul. Because as long as you keep trying to chase results on the outside, you'll stay misaligned with the energy that effortlessly draws them in. When you choose to vibrate from your essence, something invisible begins to work in your favor. And the right people, the unexpected encounters, the most improbable paths begin to appear, not as the result of effort, but as reflections of alignment. Today, before you go to sleep or tomorrow morning as you wake, give yourself the space to engage with a simple ritual. Take 5 minutes to map one contrast, something that has caused discomfort. Then 3 minutes to sit in silence, feeling the vibration of what you'd like to experience instead. Finally, write down one small inspired step that reflects this new state. It doesn't need to be grand, only real. The field doesn't respond to the size of your action, but to the authenticity of the energy behind it. Remember this: you are a living magnet, and the vortex is the invisible field surrounding you. When your inner energy aligns, it begins to draw toward you everything that resonates with your essence. Nothing needs to be forced. Nothing needs to be earned through suffering. Everything is already being drawn to you by what you quietly become. And now, I leave you with an invitation that goes beyond practice. Share in the comments what contrast brought clarity for you. How did it feel to access your vortex? Let's co-create this collective field of conscious manifestation together. Because the more hearts vibrate in resonance, the more real the frequency of love, truth, and transformation becomes for all of us.